Okay, welcome back. I'm going to cover how to do the orthographic projection drawing number 11. I'm going to show you a quick trick on being able to bring this into your CAD file so you don't have to bop back and forth. So I'm going to use the snipping tool. And if I just start typing S, there it is, snipping tool. And when the snipping tool comes up, I want to do a new snip. Popped over my other screen here. I'm going to go to new, and I'm just going to, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to AutoCAD. I'm going to right click, go to clipboard, and I'm going to paste. And when it brings in a box, there it is. So it's that simple, so I don't have to pop back and forth to look at what I'm doing. So this is an orthographic projection, and I'm going to start with the front view. The front view is the view that I get the most information out of, and to me it looks like this view here that shows the U is going to be the biggest or the most valuable view with the most information. So I'm going to start with an overall, just a box that's going to be 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I'm just going to start by drawing a line, and I know it's 4.25 by 2.25. I'm going to highlight, hover over the end to get my parent intersections isn't on. Not working. I've got something turned off. I have to take a look at that. And back to the end. So I know that's the box that contains my front view. I'm going to put my miter line in now. And I'm going to bring that up there. I'm going to tab over 45 degrees. There that is. I'm going to copy this line, and this line. Because I know that represents the top. The right side. I'm sorry, the front. This line represents the front, the top and the right side. And I know that my width as I look over here is 1.5. So I'm going to offset that. 1.5. And I'm going to fillet that. So I know that is my right side. I'm just going to copy these two guys up. I'm going to bring them straight up till they cross. Bring that line straight across. Line from the intersection there, straight across. I don't need these lines here any longer. And I'm going to bring my lines up. So using my miter line, I was able to create my top, front, and right side view. This is the biggest that it's going to be. I know that everything has to fit inside the boxes, those 3 boxes that I just drew. So I'm going to again go back to my front view, and I can see that the thickness here is 0.3. So I'm going to offset 0.3. So I know there's my width. I can see that my distance here on the top side is 1.75. I don't want to do a bunch of math. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line from the midpoint. And I know that half of 1 is a half. So that's 0.5, and 3/4, half of 3/4 is 3/8. So 4/8 plus 3/8 is 7/8. So that's half. So I'm going to offset 7/8. So there is my inside width, what I now know. And I know that my thickness here is 1/4 inch. So I'm going to offset by 1/4 inch here and here. I'm going to use the trim command. Oops. And I'm going to use my inside edges and my cutting edges. And then I'm going to fill it. See how quickly we're starting to get this thing to come together. Now I can see that the diameter from the bottom, it says that it is 0.825. So I'm going to offset 825. And I'm going to extend that line over. There we go. So I know this is the center of my circle here. And I know the radius of my circle is 1.75. So I'm going to go to a diameter from the intersection. And that intersection, you know, I'm just going to do a radius. That's going to be even easier. Let's go a radius from the intersection to the intersection. And then I can trim that, because I know that becomes my new bottom piece here. So I'm looking at the bottom, and that's 1 inch. So it's centered because of my symmetry lines that I have here. So I'm going to offset that 0.5 each direction, 0.5, 0.5. I'm going to trim, using that as my cutting edge. I'm going to bring that guy up, that guy up. I'm going to have a line that's going to come from the intersection here. Turn my ortho off. Tab, 45 degrees. Now I could have just drawn 1/2 and mirrored the whole thing, but I'm trying to get some other. So what is 45? 135? Alright, so there they are. I'm going to fillet those. And we'll fillet here. Okay, I don't need this line or this line any longer. And really, I don't need this line or this line any longer. I do have a circle here, so I'm going to go up into my annotate. And I'm going to put a center mark in, and I'm going to grab the circle. I want to change that to layer center, dim sen. So I have part of my drawing left. So I don't have my holes shown here. I've got these 4 holes, but I'll see those in the top view. Let's now start projecting up to the top view. So let's take this edge up. And I'm just going to trim that guy. And then I'm going to copy that line from that corner to that corner. Now I know that this is a 1/4 inch, so I could project up. I'm going to switch my layer here to hidden, and I'm going to draw a line up from here, and one up from here, and I'm going to trim. But I also have this edge right here that I need to see. So I'm also going to project up this line and this line. Now I know there's a circle here, because I better get rid of these guys. So I'm going to go back to annotate, and I'm going to do a center line and say from here to here. There's my center line. Go back to home. Make sure it's on dim sen. Oop, excuse me. These lines right here don't belong here either. And then that trim, I did some goofy things. Alright, so now I have the holes in the top view. So I can see that the holes are 1/2 inch this way. It doesn't give me any information over here, so I can assume because it's the same on each side, I can go 1/2 inch each way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to offset 0.5. I'm going to use the mirror command this time. And I can see that it's 0.9 between them. So again, I don't want to do any math, so I'm just going to use the midpoint here, and I'm going to offset that. What's half of 90? 0.45. So I'm going to offset 0.45. And there's the centers. Make sure I'm on layer object. And I'm going to give my hole sizes, they are 0.4 in diameter. So I'm going to go to the intersection, 0.4 diameter. I'm just going to copy that circle using the endpoints there. I don't need those any longer, so I can delete those. And now I'm going to change to my dim sen, go back to annotate, add in my center marks, and then I'm just going to mirror No, I don't want to erase the source objects. Boom. There's my top view. Now I'm going to go to the hidden layer because my next line is going to be hidden, and that's going to be these holes in the front view. So I'm just going to draw a line, and I'm going to go to OSNAP and get my intersection to turn on. And I want my quadrant to turn on. And the quadrant coming down. Quadrant coming down. I'm going to trim. Just use that cutting edge. Now this hole represents both of these holes. I'm going to go back to dim sen, go to annotate, go to my center line, get my center line in there, and I'm going to mirror this across the other side. So I'm going to go MI for mirror. Select those objects, grab the end of my center line. There it is. Now I don't need to redraw this again. I'm just going to draw a line over and down and project it to find out the location of those holes. So I'm going to go over. Using the trim command, just make it easier to grab the ends. Brought those lines over. Now I'm just going to copy perpendicular to that line and perpendicular to the second line. I go back to layer object, and I know that I have a line that's going to go from here. That's going to project over. I've got this edge that's going to project over. And I've got to cheat a little bit here because I need a center line from here. So let's trim this first and get rid of the extension lines. Now I don't need those. But what I do need is I need a center line that's going to show over here. So I'm going to go to dim sen and I'm going to draw a line. And I'm just going to offset that by 1/4 inch each way. I'm going to offset this line and this line so they go past. Use these two as my cutting edges. Trim, trim. Let's make sure that that is on layer center. I'm going to get rid of those construction lines. And there I have my finished drawing of drawing number 11. Before I turn this in, of course, we're going to change the drawing name, change the scale, change the date, and I'm going to click this guy and delete it. Zoom to extents. And now I'm ready to plot and submit this drawing. I hope this one helps. We'll see you on the next drawing.